everyone, and welcome. I'm Susan Smith, and you're in my studio, Stitched by Susan. This is another episode of Live and Unscripted, Quilting's first reality show. But today is a little bit different. Due to popular demand, we are going to try to show you behind the scenes in our video recording studio. So how these shows and other videos that I release are made. Now, little, I guess, disclaimer, we'll call it here. I literally work in the basement family room of our home. It is a walkout basement, so I have great lighting and everything like that, but it is not a huge room. So we're going to do our best. Mr. Producer and I, we're going to hand off holding cameras and having the other person talking and so forth and try to show you as much of the room and how it functions as we possibly can. We're going to talk about the exact equipment that we use. And within this, those of you who are interested in doing your own videos, whether it's for YouTube production or whether it's for creating instructional videos or whether it's creating small things for social media, any kind of video production, I have this thing that I want to offer, and you'll hear this thread running throughout today. And that is, you can start extremely simply and inexpensively. So those of you who get my newsletter or read it yesterday, and if you don't get my newsletter, you should get my newsletter, because I was telling a story in it about our little grandson Levi, and I was just up with them a couple days ago. I got home Wednesday evening, and he is 3, and he can talk a blue streak, and it's full sentences, adjectives, verbs, like everything is in place, all the parts of speech, all the tenses. It's amazing to hear. And he did not start talking till, I would say, on the later side. And I feel like the reason he was able to do that so quickly is that he is absolutely unashamed to try and fail. So when he started forming words, he just started talking to people, and he expected you to be able to understand. But it did not embarrass him at all if you asked him to repeat and repeat and repeat, and what was that again? And he would just try to get his meaning across. And he progressed so quickly and has such a full grasp of the English language at 3.5. It quite amazes me. So of course I likened this to learning new skills, and in particular learning machine quilting. But it also applies to learning any type of skill. So in this case, video production. When Dave and I started, it's a little over 4 years ago that I started the Live and Unscripted show, and I particularly was absolutely unused to being on camera. I have always been the behind the scenes person, always, my whole life. I was the support crew. So that was a new skill for me, but certainly the tech, the cameras, the mics, etc. Dave's a bit of a techie guy, so he had some knowledge in that respect, but he's never aired things. And neither of us had ever attempted anything like showing a giant 12-foot quilting machine and something that moves and vibrates like a needle in motion, right? So there's all these challenges involved in the process, and we sort of didn't know how to deal with those when we began. But our thinking was, we're not going to wait until we figure it all out. Like, how will we even figure it out unless we just start doing it? And then we'll gradually learn. This piece of equipment works great, this one not as well. Okay, we need to change. This one is better, etc., etc. And so over those 4 years, we've made a lot of changes and a lot of improvements. And I anticipate that in the years to come, we'll do the same thing again, and we'll probably look back again at our early efforts and kind of cringe. And that's okay. That's how we learn. So also in the newsletter, I put a link to the very first Live and Unscripted episode that we aired, because it is kind of funny and also kind of encouraging to look back and see how far we've come. So newsletter, by the way, if you're not already on that newsletter email list, there is a link in the description box below, and after the live is over, I'll put a little clickable link in the top as well, so you can get on my newsletter if you like. It's often full of stories. I'm a bit of a storyteller, so the story of Levi the grandson, that's a very common way for me to kind of make a point. So it's not so much about, you know, this pattern is on sale this week and etc. It's usually me talking about stories and then about my courses that are available. So that's what that's about. Okay, let's get down to business. As we go, we welcome your questions. Please put a QQ in front of them, particularly today, because Dave's going to be in and out of his chair and moving back and forth with cameras. And so he can then run a search for all the QQs and find all the questions, and we can take some time here and there to answer those questions. We're an open book. We're not gatekeeping any of this stuff. So if you want to know what things cost or how long it took us or how long it takes us to put on one episode or whatever questions come to mind, feel free to ask them. We will answer as clearly as we can. We have also prepared for you, and I'll talk more about this as we go along, but Dave's prepared a list of the equipment that we're currently using, and we'll talk about some of the equipment we've used in the past in case that's where you want to start, and some more beginner and economical levels. I think that's about it for an intro. Where we started, let's get into the technical stuff. By the way, don't you love my pink nails? They just about are neon on camera. Where we started, we had our 2 smartphones, and I think we had someone's old smartphone, maybe one of our kids or one of our older ones that we still had hanging around. So I think we started with 3 smartphones, and our very first camera was a little webcam, like the kind that you used to clip onto the top of your laptop screen. That didn't last very long at all because it didn't work well. Oh yeah, look, here are the smartphones. We still have them. And at one point, as we were advancing and getting more camera angles, one of you viewers actually took the time to send us an old smartphone that had been cleared. And that's how we've gotten different camera angles. And to this day, we still use several smartphones. We've upgraded for this camera that's on me right now and the one that's on my machine. But we'll talk more about why and what we upgraded to as we go along. So just know that your smartphone and some decent lighting, maybe even that's just choosing the time of day that has good lighting, is all you need to start. It really, really is. So from there, Dave, where do we want to go first? I've got a big old list of stuff to talk about. We're going to try to arrange this a little bit. So we're going to talk about audio, and we're going to talk about cameras, and we're going to talk about lighting kind of as groupings. Shall we check in after each one and see if there are questions?
It's really up to you. We can begin anywhere.
Okay, we're going to begin anywhere. We're going to start with audio, because why not? Let me grab my paper. Okay, we're going to change camera views. So now I'm off to the side. This is one of the things that we've done from the beginning. Because we're dealing with this big machine, right? We've had these different angles and views. So we'll let you experience some of them today, and we'll talk about them as we show the room as well. And our friend Ruth is here today. She's kind of apprenticing some of these things and also working as a bit of a helper, because this is going to be tricky. This is going to be tricky to get between all the things today. But audio, let's talk about our microphones. The one I have on today, it'll probably bang as I handle it. It's by DJI, and this is one of my all-time favorite apparatuses. It's a simple little 2-mic set that comes in a tiny case with a receiver. Dave's bringing me all the bits. Here's the case. And this works so simply. It's something I highly recommend fairly early in your journey. You do need some kind of mic if you are moving at all. If you've got a camera that's recording what you're doing and you're moving even a foot closer and further away, that will really show up in the sound that the phone itself picks up, right? Talking about using smartphones. So this was one of our early solutions. Has a tiny little receiver which clips right into the phone, and you can use 1 mic or 2 mics. So today we're using 2. I'm wearing one and Dave's wearing one.
And I'm wearing one.
He is. And I'll just put in here, this is one of the things that we're in the process of upgrading. Just because it's kind of heavy, it weighs several ounces. And maybe when you've seen me doing little live productions that I do on my own, this is always the mic I'm wearing, and it will pull my shirt, it will pull my neckline, it will sag, it will do all the things, and that kind of annoys me. So we're getting another system, really similar, same process, but with a far tinier little lapel mic. So these are some of the reasons we change and upgrade over time. Okay, anything you want to say about mics? Dave's going to talk about the one I typically wear on the show. Here it is. Handy little thing. And it's really simple. It connects around the back of my head, and this is the part you guys usually see, this tiny little foam speaker, right? Here is an interesting thing that we discovered. This is about a $69 mic.
Yep.
Right? We ordered one thinking we're going to get fancy and upgrade, and we ordered one that was about $600, and it was poor sound. It crackled and made background noise and wasn't nearly as clear. This one has done a super job of picking up my voice while I'm talking and not picking up the machine noise nearly as loudly. So we've had this one almost since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we absolutely love it. And it's a simple
And when you look at the two, they look about the same and they do the same job.
$600, 70.
Yeah.
So typically how it goes is this just connects to a little receiver that I tuck in my back pocket. And that's how I'm usually mic'd in for the show.
Here's why it's actually $600, as it comes with a mirror in the case so you can see what it looks like on you.
Yeah. So you can be vain.
If I can shut that.
I'm going to give you that.
That part.
And this is the little receiver that I mentioned, and it's usually just connected on my pocket. Wire runs down my back. And this is what you'll see speakers on stage wearing a lot of times, because that little mic, it's kind of skin colored, right? And it hides a little bit in your hair. And so it's a great mic, and you're not connected to, a microphone and a wire. So it's a great one for moving around. Again, super useful because I'm moving everywhere with my quilting machine, right?
One of the differences here is this is ideal on the machine, is that it isolates her voice from the machine. These are really ideal in this environment where there is no external noise. So add a vehicle or the machine, and these are not as good. And again, that is why we went here on the live and unscripted episodes.
So again, if you've watched me doing little live episodes that I do on my own, I can't both quilt and talk at the same time, because this mic, picking up all sounds equally, the machine gets so loud that it overpowers my voice, right? So that little headset has been ideal for getting that lovely balance in between. And we kind of found that by trial and error. And the one that we use now works really, really well, and we've been super happy with it. But know that if you're doing smaller things on your own, like on your phone on a tripod, and you're doing quilting or close-up work, you absolutely can do it with this one. You just need to either talk or do the noisy thing at the quilting machine. Okay, does that cover sound pretty good?
So.
I think so. I think I covered wireless has been a big feature, and you saw it in the mic, right? I couldn't be holding a mic and talking. That would not work well. And I don't want to be attached to one that's got a cable, because I need to be able to walk around my machine as I'm loading, as I'm quilting, etc. And so throughout today, you'll hear that theme too. Dealing with wires and cables has been a big deal. And I'm excited to show you our big solution, which is up on the ceiling, but we'll get to that. Okay, do you want to check for questions, or shall we do cameras first? Let's do cameras.
I just looked, there's not very many.
Okay, cameras. So I mentioned that we started with smartphones, and that was all we had at the beginning. One of the first cameras that we tried connecting to my machine was a little webcam. Are you going to get that one to show details? Okay. Dave's setting up a handheld camera. There we go, so that we can show you some details. The webcam did not work very well at all, because it has limited capabilities for good focus or clarity of picture, and certainly limited capabilities for dealing with vibration, right? Another big thing when you're trying to show machine quilting is any camera that's attached to the machine is going to vibrate. So certain cameras deal with that better than others. So as we thought through this problem, okay, webcam doesn't work, smartphone is okay, but what could we do that's better? And our heads right away went to a GoPro, because they're built for leveling out vibration. They're built for wearing during, skiing or swimming or sports or movement, right? So that was our first main camera, and a lot of the early shows that you see, that's what we were using. We literally had a GoPro that was attached to this arm, and it did a really good job actually of dealing with vibration and movement. We upgraded from there to a Sony, this is a ZV-1, right? Why did we do that? I don't know that this one handles the vibration as well, but it does picture quality better. It's clearer. This is the one that records when you guys are seeing a close-up. Dave's got the little, you can see it in the screen there a little bit, right? It gets the close-up of the quilting and the movement of the needle and the actual stitches. We wanted to show that with great clarity in our episodes. And also we were trying to get the literal movement of the needle. You know how when you see videos of a vehicle driving and it looks like the tires are turning backwards, or a video of a sewing machine and it looks like the needle is stopping and it has this funny motion, right? that all has to do with the speed at which that data is going into the camera and being, sent out in the video. So this one did the best for that. And I should add a little plug in here too. We have a friend, he's from our church and we've gotten to know him. His name is Clement, and he worked in Hollywood for a number of years and film production, right? So he knows a great deal about films and cameras. So we actually had him come in for a couple of consultations, and that's what first guided us toward this camera, which would do the best overall job at handling the motion, giving us great clarity on a close-up picture, and handle the motion of the needle and give us the best overall quality of video. So that's what we've stuck with here. And we have this same camera is the one that's on my face, like when we start with our introduction. Again, it has that beautiful, beautiful clarity of picture. I sometimes don't love that because like you see every wrinkle and every sleep crease and everything like that. However, it's real. The color is great and it is so, so clear, and it shows off, even the quilt behind me and the quilting and so forth. So it's a pretty remarkable camera. So we now have 2 of those Sony ZV-1s. Does that about cover it for cameras?
No, we're talking about the moving one.
Oh, now we're talking about, oh, that's right. Okay, the one that I'm talking to you on right now. This is a relatively recent addition for us, maybe a year ago. And it's by Osmo. And it is the coolest. Oh, it's by DJI. It's called an Osmo. The model is an Osmo. You can hold it in one hand, and it's got a little camera head on it. Dave's going to show you here in a moment. I'm sure he is. But we can move it. Do you see? This is Ruth. She's sitting at the computer at Dave's control desk, literally moving that camera head and shifting where it views. You're getting a good view of the whole room. Did you notice I did not put everything away for this? I wanted you to kind of see this is my sewing room too, and my ironing space and all the things. Now Ruth's trying to get back on me. She's having a good time.
It's me. It's not even Ruth.
Oh, it's Dave. I'm so sorry. It's Dave, and I'm blaming Ruth, bless her heart. Anyway, one of the cool things about that camera is when I'm filming by myself, because this is another part of our process, right? One part is these live shows, which Dave is here for. Another part is all the other video work that I do, the reels, the shorts on YouTube, and I do those all myself. So we're always thinking through how can we use a camera in both ways. So the way the Osmo works for me is I will set it on a tripod facing me, and when I look into it and tell it to lock on my face, I can then move and it will follow me wherever I go. And it's very, very cool. So it has allowed me, if I wish, to video myself quilting, and I can move the length of my quilting machine or over to my ironing table and it will follow me. So that's a really, really cool camera. Okay, back at the front. Did you actually show the Osmo though? Like, do you want to use the handheld so they can see it?
Yeah.
We'll show you the camera. It's a cute little thing. It's really compact. We carry it around sometimes when we go to quilt shows because you can walk around and that little camera head moves. You're getting a look at it here soon. There you go. That's kind of an elongated look, but it's only about 1.5 inches square and about 7 inches long. It's a tiny little camera. And that bottom head, that little roller looking bit, that's the part that swivels and follows me around. And it's very clever.
Can main cast Susan camera?
It's following me as we speak. I can see it moving. There we go. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Beautiful. And of course, Dave's got it connected at his control desk, right? Where he can do that movement that you saw. So he can, if I've moved to the other end of the quilting machine and I'm maybe trying to show my clamps, right? And he wants to give you a view of that instead of the fixed smartphone, which we also have, giving an okay view, he can move the little Osmo and zone in right on what we're trying to see. So that's been an upgrade, a fun one. Okay.
This is your main camera.
Does that cover cameras? I think I talked about this one that we're on right now. It's exactly the same camera that we have attached to the machine. One thing I didn't talk about much at the machine, but you guys did see a picture of it, is all the apparatus we use to try and minimize the vibration. Dave's going to show you again. All this stuff right here. This is an anti-vibration pad. It's kind of spring-loaded. We've also got foam in there. You can almost see it because we've got it clamped like crazy onto my handlebar. So, it's a little bit of a challenge when I go to quilt because this is somewhat in the way of what my left hand would be grasping that handlebar. We have it set longer so there's room to attach the camera. And so when I'm quilting on air for you, it feels a little different. But that's just something that I have gotten used to and grown with. I think let's show a couple of my funky little camera things that I've tried over the years.
Let's go over
too.
there.
Okay, Dave's going to bring the camera with me.
I'm just going to put it in here for now. Just going to turn this.
Just messing around with some lights. Are we on?
Yep.
Okay. Over the years, I've tried different things for being able to capture videos of me quilting when I'm in the studio by myself. So these are a couple of the better ones that I've found, because you might want to give these a try too. So often we see videos of, Angela Walters quilting or Natalia Bonner or Adria Good. And how are they capturing those, right? You never get to see what the camera is. So here are some of the things that I've used. This is one. So this camera holder part is kind of universal. It can move from tripod to tripod or what have you. But this part is the crucial bit. It is malleable, right? So I can, you see that little twist? That's how I've done it on my, let me see that? This is how I've attached it to the handlebar of my machine, is I get up close to it and I literally twist this around my handlebar, and I can make it as tight as I wish, so I can put it anywhere on the handlebar. And of course, because this is flexible, I have the ability then to fine tune where my camera is pointing and what it's showing. So I have found this is probably my favorite when I'm quilting at the long arm, to try and show close-ups of what I'm doing. When I'm showing something that's not so much about the stitches, but about a process or a tip that I'm trying to give, then I'll use a tripod, and we'll talk about that more later. I've figured out some good ways to angle the tripod and to manage my lighting so that what I'm doing shows on camera too.
I can't get this on my head.
This is another fun one that I've used when I'm filming by myself. It's quite bendable too, and it's got these suction cups. So I literally can stick this onto the front of my long arm on its screen. I can stick it on a window in my office if I'm needing to film myself, and I'm sometimes standing up or sometimes sitting down. This has been a fun one for sort of managing that. And
Modeling your neck.
here's Dave modeling my necklace. This is one that I tried. I see people, Sherilyn So is one of them. And it looks like her camera is straight on whatever she's quilting. You're getting the same view that she's getting. And I've tried many times to get that successfully, and I have not been well successful. This is the best tool I've found, right? It's this little necklace that hangs on you. But of course, every time you move, even a tiny bit, the camera wobbles and moves too. So it works. It's not fabulous.
It doesn't look
does
as good
work
on me as it does on you.
It's kind of funny though, a little necklace, and your smartphone just sticks on it with a magnet, and that's it. So those are a couple of my favorites for filming close-up work. And we'll get into tripods later, and then I'll talk a little more about like a lot of the B-roll that you see when I post. Recently, I've been posting, for example, am I still in the handheld?
Yeah.
We've been posting viewer questions, and so I'll show like a B-roll of me doing something at the quilting machine, and then you hear my voice talking over in the background. I'll show you the tripod that I use for doing that type of thing. Okay, I don't need my phone. I don't need any of those. I think that's it.
Doing the two
Want to
tripods.
talk about the tripod right now?
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, this is my personal favorite tripod. I talked about a universal camera holder. Here it is again, right? You can buy these separately, and tripods have a universal screw-on size, so you can put them on. So this right off the bat gives me movability in terms of angle of camera, in terms of whether I want my camera to be landscape or portrait, right? So I'll probably show this at my long arm, Dave, if I could.
Yeah.
This is my favorite tripod for doing close-up work at the long arm. I will get my tripod set up. Oof. And usually I will do it quite short, so it's at a pretty sharp angle to my quilting. Down we go. And sometimes I do portrait and sometimes landscape, depending. So my camera would be right here, right? And I'll get it close into my long arm frame, but not quite touching, because it will make the frame vibrate. So I'll get it very close, and I could be quilting then, and I can move my tripod to get a good field of vision for my quilting. But the other thing I have learned, if I want the actual quilting path to show up, I do the same thing I do for, I've talked about working on fabrics that are hard to see. So I will turn out my machine light, I'll turn out my room lights, I might even close the blinds if it's a bright day, and I'll shine a gooseneck lamp, which I have, just a floor lamp, shine it from the side and video it from the other side. That's the very best way I have found to actually show my quilting path. So when you see a little reel of me do quilting something, sometimes it's sped up, sometimes it's real time, almost always that's how I've filmed it. The tripod fairly low with a sharp angle across it so that I've got a bit of distance, and then all my lights in the room are turned out, my light on the machine is off, and I've got a gooseneck lamp blasting light from one side and filming it from the other side. Dave's pointing and I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry.
We're trying to get your attention.
It's a good time. It's a good time. I knew it would go like this. I knew it would. So that's okay. I think Dave has put the tripod in the equipment list, but you know, which one it is not hypercritical, but it needs to be adjustable and it needs to be reasonably sturdy. So we're going to show you another one that we acquired. Are those the ones you bought for the cruise?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead. How come your light is red? You were turned off.
I was muted. I mute myself between
Which
so you
camera
don't
am
hear.
I on now? Because you're wobbling all over.
You're on this one. I'm sorry.
See, now it's Dave. He's like, ooh, with the camera.
The advantage of these is they're only they're under $50.
Yeah.
They're really inexpensive.
And they have quite adjustable legs.
Yes.
Like I can move this one high enough that it's well above my head. And if I'm wanting, again, to film myself, I can get a fairly good look of my whole long arm length if I wish to. Or I can make it tiny and short enough to be on my long arm table, facing toward me, holding my little Osmo camera. You know, again, this camera mount is pretty universal. So, you know, our ZV-1s could attach to this. Our Osmo, which is the one with the little oscillating head, could attach to this, or this little holder for smartphones. So really versatile.
So other one.
We have looked at other tripods, and we're going to show this great big one. We've invested in a couple of these, and we did this initially when we were doing our cruise in January because we needed the stability of a heavier, weightier mount for our cameras. So, you know, if you need to hang a light on it or, I don't know, these are just much, much sturdier, and they even have a place that you can hang weights onto the tripod itself, and we have certainly done that. A grocery bag with a few cans is an ideal weight, and then this thing is not moving, right? We were on a boat that was shifting a little bit, and we had mixed equipment that we were using on it, so having this sturdier tripod was really beneficial. And you know, we're growing too, and as we think about today, for example, Dave is now holding a camera in his hands and guaranteed it's shaking. So next step up for us would probably be a tripod that's got a gimbal on it, right? So you can attach your camera and then it's got an arm that you can move around. This is what they use in movie production, right? And so the camera is moving, but does not have the shakiness of being handheld, right? So this is how we're leveling up over time. Okay, is that it for tripods?
Yeah.
Good deal.
Over
Okay,
here.
Ruth.
Where do we want to go now, Susan?
Let me see. Let me go back to my list. Let's see if there are any questions or things we want to chat about a little bit.
There you go.
I'm just looking at my list, you
you
guys.
have one.
Okay. Denise, does the camera equipment on the handlebar add a significant amount of weight on it? It doesn't, Denise. I
Nope.
don't honestly notice any change in like the balance or the use of my machine. It's just the placement of my hand has to change a little bit. Okay, Dave's got something.
Yeah, it weighs about half a pound. Oh, it weighs about half a pound.
But compared to the 45-pound machine, it's minuscule. Yeah.
I have to duck to get in the shot.
Okay, more questions?
Nope. Okay.
No more questions. Okay, you guys. Well,
Do
let's
the
talk
computer part
about
or the grid.
the grid. So I think this is going to be a handheld one. Well, we haven't really talked about lights either. We'll get
Let's
both
do
of
lights
them.
and the grid at the same time.
Lights and grid are coming up next. Okay, this one I'm super, super proud of. I don't know why I'm proud of it. Dave is the one that did it. But early on, we're following other YouTubers. We're watching how they're moving their cameras, how they're getting different angles, how they have their lights, you know, above their workspace. How can we do that? And most of them would, in their equipment list, they would have, you know, these arms that you could do all kinds of things with, right? And also several $1,000s. And we're like, ooh boy, that was certainly not where we were prepared to start. So very early on, back in the only smartphone days, Dave built our first grid, and it is literally suspended from the ceiling. Do you want to start showing it? And it's PVC pipe that he has put together. Now he has recently redone our grid to make it bigger because we now have 4 large lights. You can see some of them hanging from it. We have a TV monitor, which you're seeing right now. That's what I look at when I'm seeing your questions. Dave throws them up on that monitor, so it's straight in front of me and my camera is right below it. You're seeing some of the lights. You're seeing lots and lots and lots of cables. And he has even hung from it some of the control panels for these lights, which used to be multitudes of cables sitting on the floor, right? And I'm always trying to clean around them and deal with them.
Here comes the spaghetti.
So, you know, it still is spaghetti, but now it's raised and it's contained, and he made, you know, the power buttons very accessible for me. So that grid, really, truly, I'm quite proud of that. That is a $250 massive DIY savings that we've done. And so the big lights that you saw, again, our friend Clement was, you know, consulted on this. Early on, we were like, light is always critical for getting a decent video, right? So early on, I think that this is why we decided to do our show at 9 o'clock in the morning, is because that's when we had the best light in this room, and daylight was what we had, and blinds to control it a little. So these lights now, they're LED. I don't know that you can get a sense, there you do, of how bright they are. I've got 2 of them shining down in front of me and 2 of them shining right in my face. And then this little backlight that's up behind my head, which Dave will show you in just a second, right there. It is crazy bright in my studio right now. So we actually fully control the light now. We close the blinds and manage these lights. And because they're LED, we can change them very easily. So again, our friend Clement came and helped us get our initial setup that we thought had the most natural look, right? You can change how white or yellow or blue or cool or warm or bright they all are. All of that is manageable. And then we have a couple, here comes Dave, with a softbox light. That was our first one. And we used that for a ton of stuff. It stands on a tripod, it's mobile, we hauled it around, and we still use it occasionally when we need spotlighting. So for example, this is all set up most conveniently for when I'm working at the long arm, but sometimes I do want to film at my sit-down sewing machine. And so some of the lights I can turn on the grid. I can literally, they're hinged, and I can just turn them and point them in a different direction. But it is also nice to have these mobile ones that you can set on a tripod and carry around. We have the newer ones too, which we don't have down here. So over the years, we've experienced with a little bit of different lighting. All of our earlier versions, like the softbox Dave just showed you, are, I would say, $50 to perhaps $200. The big ones we've got overhead now, that's probably our single largest investment to date. We've probably got about $4,000 in lighting right now. So, you know, just a little plug for you guys. We have over the years used our buymeacoffee.com little support site. And now I don't use that so much anymore, but instead I'm trying to get everything kind of central on YouTube because this is where I am. So a way that you can, if you wish, support the show even now is to send super thanks, which is basically a donation. So we have traditionally, from the time we started that little Buy Me a Coffee program, we have reinvested all of the dollars that came in there into our studio. So that's how we have afforded these things, and we just keep pouring back in. And as that support comes in, then we move on to the next upgrade. And like I said, our next one is my microphone. So I have a little one that doesn't pull my shirt askew, and then probably a tripod that's got that gimbal, that nice smooth moving camera mount. So that's lighting, that's grid. Anything else about the grid that you want to say?
Well, I just want to say one thing. I'm never on this side of the camera, and I keep looking at the monitor, and you're so good at not looking at the monitor, but looking at the camera.
Looking at the camera instead
of the monitor. And I have to work really hard to look and say hi to you people because I'm always looking up at the things that I always look up at.
Yeah, there's a big screen, right, which shows what's going out to you, and also where I see the questions, and then my camera's about 6 inches below that. So I've practiced, right, looking at the camera as I am right now, looking right into your eyes, and then sometimes I have to look up and read what's on the monitor. So that's how that works, and we've just made that as efficient as we can. Something I don't have hanging today because I have a list. But usually right beside that monitor, I have a big piece of paper with what people in the showbiz call the show flow. And in giant marker, I'll have put the points I want to make or the things I want to talk about today so that I can, at a glance or even out of the side of my eye without stopping to look at them, see them and remind myself of the things I want to talk about. So that's helpful. What else? That covers the grid. Oh, I was going to say, the grid process, which is DIY and PVC pipe and screws, and we didn't glue it, we just screwed it so that it is changeable if we ever want to change up where things are on it. Cost Dave about $250 and a weekend of time, to be honest, compared to probably $3,000 or better to have movable arms and ways to mount these lights. So I love it because my room is a basement room, and though it is a daylight basement and it doesn't feel closed in basement-y, yet there is, you know, a bulkhead above me here and a bulkhead on the other side, as basements do with heating and so forth in them. So I don't have tons of ceiling room or height in my room. So to be able to get all this stuff up as high as we can and have as little as we can sitting on the floor matters to me. My room overall is probably, it's a little more than 20 feet by about 15. So maybe 15 feet by 22, thereabouts. That's not a huge room when you consider I've got a long arm in it. You've seen my ironing station, which is 2 9 cubicles of shelves together. I have a Horn of America sewing table with my sewing machine. Dave's got another desk, his control panel, and I've got a dresser and a cupboard, like a wardrobe. So all those things are in my studio, and this has all got to be functional. All my thread is stored in here. So to get things up, to get cords up, was so important to us, and that's just been a process. So as we talk about the computer, which is where we're going next, we'll talk a little bit about wires and cables and how we've made that doable. Yes. Computers next? Dave's agreeing.
Do we have some comments?
We have some comments. Okay, let's do a few of those comments, and we're going to have to move. Lauren, when you're long arming and not filming, do you use all the lights? No, I don't, because it's actually so bright, Lauren, that it's I have to practice not squinting. It's that bright. However, the flat ones that are right over my machine, I often turn one on. It's a lovely long arming light. My long arm has good light on it, but when I want light across my whole room, I just flip on one of those lights, and it's really, really nice. Kayla, is your camera on the long arm itself hardwired or wireless? It is wired in, and Dave's going to fire up the handheld camera again and show you that. As we segue into talking about the computer, we will show you some of the wires. Okay. And yeah, it is wired in, so you can see all the wire apparatus here at the front by the camera, and it tootles down the side. And we've got this handy little cable, right, which the wires are enclosed in. My blue painter's, focus on my blue painter's tape for a sec there, Dave. That's Susan's handy fix. One more use for blue painter's tape.
That's Susan's duct tape.
Because those cables I would find that they would snag on my machine, right, as I was quilting and moving, and I would get resistance. It wasn't like it would stop, but I could feel that tug. And so the blue painter's tape was my elimination of all the corners, the jogs that are on the back of my machine. Now it's just a smooth swoop, and those cables just slide back and forth as I work. That was something we found by trial and error, because certainly when we began and we're dragging camera cables around, right, we certainly had some issues. And it still happens every now and again, too. I'll feel a snag. And probably you've seen me say in an episode, Dave, will you just catch that? I'm feeling something pulling, and it'll be one of those cables just tugging a little bit. Liz, do you use OBS for your broadcast software? No. We use Ecamm. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll give you a little heads up. OBS is free. It's actually really good. It's not as easy to learn, and I'm inherently lazy. And so I wanted something that was easy to use. And so I went Ecamm. The only hiccup with Ecamm is that it's Mac only. And so if you're not in the Mac ecosystem, and we'll mention that a little bit on the computers, just isn't available. And so we use Ecamm. I have used OBS, and it worked very well.
There are options. As with so many things, there are options, and very frequently, especially as we get into software, there are free options out there, and that's absolutely where you ought to start. I can't remember what we first aired with. Did we always have eCam?
We have always
Certainly
used
we
eCam,
got
yes.
into eCam when it was very young, you know,
Yes.
and very inexpensive, and we're kind of grandfathered in. So we're probably going to stick there forever because we get such a good deal on that, and now we know the program so well, and it allows me to connect seamlessly and easily with a number of things. But yeah, OBS
There's
is
a
certainly
comment
an
and I
option.
missed it. Let's get
Okay, let's have the
that
comment
one up
again,
again.
please, Ruth. Thanks. How do you switch camera views when Dave isn't there to help? Do you have to walk all the way to your computer and back? Super question, Kayla. I don't switch camera views when Dave's not here, which is why I love that Osmo, which follows me, right? Because I can either walk up close to it and talk into it, or I can move and walk down to the other end of my long arm machine and it will autofocus and it will follow me. So that's been a bit of a lifesaver. Before I had that, I simply could only be in one place doing one thing at one time. So I don't live stream these long form, whole quilt videos by myself. I never do. It's not a one-woman show. When I'm filming on my own, it's usually for short, tiny reels or YouTube shorts or little bitty clips or B-roll or things like that. And so then I do just have that one camera view. I would have to walk to the computer to change it, and wouldn't that be awkward? So I don't do that.
It's nice to feel needed.
It is. Diane, where do you post or put the list of topics you want to cover? Okay, so Dave showed you you're going to get the handheld again. Do you want to show this one more time?
Yep.
We'll show you once again the computer monitor and what it looks like from where I'm standing.
Okay.
Do you want to do it from over here, Dave?
Yeah.
And then they can see what that looks like from where I'm standing. You guys get it's like those mirrors that repeat. Okay, so you see that computer monitor that's got the picture, and there's my hand. Right below it is the camera. So when I look at that monitor, there's the camera. I only have to glance up to read the monitor from the camera, and I hang my list right beside it. Now to you, it looks like there's a light right beside it. We'll show you a comment. Just a moment.
There we go.
There we go. That's how that looks on the monitor. So from your view, it looks like the light on the left is right next to the monitor, but in fact, it's in front of that monitor. So I hang my show flow list right to the left of the monitor, and I can just glance at it. And in fact, if my writing is big enough, I can just see it out of the corner of my eye without ever looking at it.
So Ruth, I just want you to throw that comment up there again because I liked it.
Oh, I didn't even read the comment.
I didn't read it at first either.
Oh gosh, there's so many.
Where'd it go?
They said we're a cute couple.
No worries. Ruth will find it again.
I will.
Tell us your name or comment again, and then Ruth can find it.
Okay.
Okay. What else do we want to talk about before we dive into computers? Is that where we're going next?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to move out the handheld over there.
This is probably the most important thing, and probably where we've invested the most energy and time and changes is in our computer system. So we do use a Mac ecosystem, and from our point of view, like everybody's entitled to their opinion, but from our point of view, it's the best way to go. It is definitely what makes the fact that we use smartphones and connect them so much easier because Apple talks to each other. Carolyn, love the interaction. You're such a cute couple. We've been doing this a long time, Carolyn. I shudder to think how many hours we've spent doing these live episodes.
How long have we been married?
Oh, the trivia question for you guys. How long do you think Dave and I have been married? We'll just put that out there.
Put some guesses in the comments.
Guess in the comments. Back to the computers. We do use an Apple ecosystem. So the smartphones are all iPhones. The computer is an Apple and is a Mac. Right now, Dave's running a big laptop computer, probably an $1,800 computer.
Not a laptop.
Oh, it's not a laptop. I'm sorry. It's what is it called? Sorry?
Studio, a Mac Studio.
Mac Studio, because there's Mac Minis as well. But it is a robust computer, more than you need to start. But Dave is a real fan, actually, of shopping for Apple products on Amazon because you can get them refurbished so often. And by the way, did I give you that link, Dave? You'll have to get it from my computer. I so apologize. We were pulling together we were pulling together stuff this morning. I have this equipment list for you, and we're going to give you a link before. What are we doing?
I was going to have her on me on this camera.
Oh, okay. Got it. So this is Dave's control center. The equipment list that's coming, though, has some of these refurbished links, and Dave noted that on there, but it's a great way to find things that are less expensive. So even if you want to do a multi-camera production, maybe not as many as we're doing, but up to 2 or 3 cameras, you can do that with about a $300 Mac Mini. And so what Dave's got now, that silver box that you're seeing, is his Mac Studio, which is a bigger outfit. And this is something we've grown into, right? We began, like I said, with the smartphones and kind of manually switching back and forth. Then we went to the Mini, which enabled us to have, I believe it was 3 different cameras. And now we regularly have 5 hooked up on a streaming day. So that's kind of been where we've invested, because when we went too cheap or too small, we had trouble airing. We would get glitches, or we would get kicked off the YouTube platform, or things like that would happen. Do you want to talk about more of that, Dave? Because you really know more than I do.
Yeah.
And this has been the thing we've upgraded the oftenest, I think.
So here's it's sort of a caveat is this is overkill for most of your scenarios. I have a studio computer that was expensive. I have all the cameras except for the one I'm on now are all hardwired, and they don't have to be. The reason that we do that is we don't want to have any hiccups in a live show. It's a lot easier if you're not live. You can edit out all the problems, and then you can do it way less expensively. It's a little more expensive to do it live every time, as you don't want to have the glitches. And so honestly, if you notice at the beginning of every episode, there's a section and we're looking at the audio and we're testing everything live, and we edit that off. Well, honestly, I would say in the last year and a half, we haven't really needed that. It really is a safety measure now, as it is more solid than it used to be.
But early on, there were certainly times, quite a few of them,
yes,
where various things would happen. Either a camera just would not connect,
yes,
or you had no sound, or, right? So we've kind of stopped messing around with a small game and thought, we're going to get right at it so that it makes it easier on ourselves. And this, again, was our investment. But this was after we knew this is what we were going to keep doing, right? So I want to just make that so clear as we go. I talked at the beginning about my Levi story and this willingness to dive in and try at the beginning, but also in terms of this application, the ability to start very small and very simple and very economically and grow from there. Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts, Dave? Dave's desk, by the way, plug for Home Depot.
Yes. This is not an affiliate link.
This is not an affiliate link. Yeah, no, we don't make a dime off of this one. It's a Home Depot hardware desk, and it raises and lowers, and it has 2 flat drawers. You saw glimpses of it there, and kind of a faux butcher block top. It is the nicest desk, and I have a little side room next to my main sewing room that I keep my serger in, and I got the same desk for that. It's about, I don't know, $250, cheapest sewing desk you'll ever find. And the shallow drawers are lovely for scissors and seam rippers and even small spools of thread and things like that. It's a great little desk.
Okay, we have some guesses on how many years we've been married.
Okay, we have guesses on how long Dave and I have been married. Let's see. Don't make them too big, okay? 44. Okay, Judy, how old do you think I am? Diane, 40. You guys are overshooting. Sabrina got it. 35.
I'm going to throw them all up.
There's more coming. No one's picked
Kayla's
any weird
doing
numbers
math
yet.
Here.
Oh my word, Kayla, you're crazy. Your grandson is 3. 25 years, 36 years. You guys are pretty good guessers. 47 years. I love this. So actually, our oldest son is fixing to turn 34. And the month after that is our 35th anniversary later this summer.
I just have to throw a few of these up because...
Okay, apparently there are more comments that I've got to see.
It's not really true.
Judy, I think Dave is enjoying this episode. Of course he is. He loves talking. Wibble Puppy, great to see you. Bethany, Dave's loving being the center of attention. He finally gets to be on stage. It's a great thing.
I don't know which
Roy,
of the sayings she's
on the
talking
wall.
about.
Oh, there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
You're sharp, Roy, to notice
one?
that because I've got them written kind of on parchment paper and I change them out from time to time. They're just, I don't know, things that are meaningful to me and I write them and put them on my wall.
Okay, I think that's all the comments.
Okay, let's see. What else? what else were we going to talk about? The ecosystem, the hub. Oh, the hub was a thing. The hub and memory. Again, this varies depending on what your intention is for what you're doing or how much you're producing. But fairly early on with my podcast, we were recording episodes and we had interviews with other people pre-recorded and stored, and we had like an external hard drive that those things were on, and one of those drives crashed and was not recoverable. And it was a bit disastrous. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world, but it was a bit disastrous. I think I lost 6 interviews. And you got to figure these were people all over North America that I had set up appointments with, done a recording with, and now it's gone. And I have to call them up and say, would you mind doing that again? So a bit of a big deal. So that was one of the times when we said, you know what, it's worth it for us to invest in something a little bigger than we need. Don't just have barely enough storage space, but get enough. Right. So a few things that we do, and one is the hub. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Not really, as I kind of explain it in the list. It's one of the add-ons I added, which allows me to do everything over HDMI, which I don't know if that means anything to everybody. HDMI is what your TV is connected to things with. And so it gives me a lot more room. I can go up to 83 feet away, on a cable.
More cameras, whatever.
We weren't able to do that before.
Yeah.
So it was an expenditure. It allows me on the grid, I can move my cameras anywhere on the grid because of this $800 hub.
Yeah. So it has proved itself time and again.
Yes.
And then other things we've invested in are like Google Workspace. So we have online on the cloud storage.
Right.
Relatively economical. For a beginner, you might not want to invest in that, but we do because we don't want, again, to lose that material. So when we start looking at the volume of video content that I have recorded, it is enormous. And so gosh, a computer wouldn't even hold a little fraction of it. But even thinking about using external drives and keeping them in a safe somewhere, that just quickly became absolutely overwhelming. So we've opted for online storage, which we can then access, with a password from anywhere. So that has worked well for us. And, for relatively economical, I think I paid $25 a month, something like that. I have all the storage I could ever want. And so that's a lovely thing.
Oh, don't say that too loud because...
And it is... It is a bit of a consideration. I know people whose YouTube channels have been stolen, right? And all of a sudden, they don't have access to any of that anymore. It's all too easy to think that that's secure. I've uploaded it, my name is on it, my password is on it, but I personally know people who've had their YouTube channels stolen. And so the value now is if I keep that on my own storage space that I pay for, I'm also paying insurance, peace of mind, right? If my YouTube channel was stolen, I don't know that I would go back and resurrect all those episodes, but I could if I wanted to, right? I have that data, and that matters to me. And my courses and things like that I've recorded, that is just a vast amount of video content that is stored. When you talk about the raw video that we started with, and then the edits, and then the course production and the lessons, like all of that is huge, and I want all of that. What if I want to use it in different ways 5 years down the road? I want all of that at my fingertips. So storage has been a big thing. Anyway, have I belabored that enough? I have.
I think it's important. I do think if you're going to record, I think is really important. It's not relied on external, i.e. on YouTube, on Facebook.
On a platform owned by someone else, right?
You need to control it.
You've invested the time in making it.
Yes.
You want it to be safe and in your control. What else? Have you guys got any more questions, Ruth, that are coming in, or comments that we want to chat over?
We do have some.
Okay, stitching life together. Sorry if I missed this. Do you use a software or program to stream multiple cameras? I currently use StreamYard because it's free. We use Ecamm, very, parallel type of software. Linda, I have the same desk without the drawers for my sewing table. It's great. It's a Husky desk from Home Depot. Yeah, it's a super sewing table. I love sewing standing up, and it raises and lowers perfectly for that.
So I will say...
Diane.
Hold on a sec.
Yep.
The difference in between it and your expensive one is I have to crank mine with a handle, and yours you just hit a button.
Right, but I have a crank one also. I have my Surgeon crank one.
Yeah, that's not in the room, so it doesn't count.
Also, the difference is the price tag.
Yes.
My Horn of America one was given to me, so that's mine. Okay, Diane, can YouTube be set up for two-factor authentication? Probably yes. I'll tell you my personal experience, Diane, though, because I've had my Facebook account taken over more than once, and that has two-factor authentication on it, and it has not always saved me. So I do a bit of overkill, I suspect. The things that matter to me, I keep in other places than Facebook or YouTube.
So as an example, on Hi,
Wibble
Ruth.
puppy. Hi, Ruth. Thanks
So
for
I will
reading,
say, I sort of want to home in on this a little bit on the storage issue. 3 months ago, the lives were all removed off of Facebook. They warned us it was going to happen, and all of a sudden they're gone. So you don't hold anything on there, as it's at the whim of the person who's there. So you can have all the security. It's not enough. You really need a local copy if you can. If not, stick it on Google Drive or on one of the other online services. Extremely important if you're into content.
Yeah. And that's a little piece of our story. We used to air these live episodes on Facebook and YouTube both, and people could watch it on both places. And then there was a period of quite a few months where they simply didn't talk well.
Yeah.
Like we just ran into problem after problem after problem. More often than not, it was a problem trying to air on Facebook. So we just stopped doing it because we were so tired of apologizing for something we couldn't fix. And then Facebook went to this whole deal where they removed the live video. And I think you can still do lives, but they expire, and quite quickly
30
at that.
days. Yes.
So it's not a good resource for keeping anything or referring back to it in the future or sending, previous viewers, right? Like that's kind of the beauty of YouTube, is you can send people to earlier stuff. Well, that's no longer applicable on Facebook. So I just put less and less effort into being live there. That's not a great fit anymore.
That's right.
And those things change. Those things just change. Bethany, wow, that's a lot of work. Thanks for all you do. Well, I appreciate that, Bethany. And, we do enjoy doing it. And it is very much a collaboration, because if I had not had Dave initially to A, encourage me to do it, and B, to do the setup at the beginning, I would never have attempted it on my own. Now I think I know enough that I perhaps could carry out some simplified episodes, but I've learned that over time. So it's been a great collaboration, and it gives me the freedom to talk about the thing I want to talk about, which is quilting, with all of you. And Dave provides that support system to be able to share it with you, because otherwise, how could I deliver it? It would be much harder. Have you found that link yet? Do you want to get it on my computer because it's open in Flowdesk? We're going to share with you guys a link. Hang on a sec. I'll answer Liz's question before it goes. Will you post a list of all the different equipment? Yep, this is what we're talking about, Liz. We made one this morning, and I've made a way that you can, you have to check it out. It is totally free, but you just have to go through that checkout process to get a download of this equipment, and it's clickable. So it will take you right to the links. Many of them are Amazon. As I mentioned, Dave is very fond of shopping even for Apple products on Amazon, because you can often get refurbished ones for much less expensive than new ones from the Apple store. But that does also sometimes mean those links, they may not be in stock, but at least you'll have the name if that happens and be able to find it. But for the moment, they're all current links. You can link right to the things that we have on Amazon. So keep in mind, again, it's a pretty long list. Keep in mind, we started with our smartphones and with our Mac laptop at the time. We had one laptop, and with daylight that we tried to control with blinds and time of day. That is how we began. So you can too. Your smartphone is a really good camera. I think if we had not had the vibration to deal with of putting it on the long arm, we would probably not have had to update. Like, I can make reels forever on my smartphone. I do to this day. So just know you can start anywhere in that spectrum and grow as you need more equipment, or as your audience maybe changes, or what you produce changes. You can flex and grow to fit that.
I would say that most of your videos are on your smartphone.
Yes. When you see my videos on Instagram or shorts on YouTube, all of those are done on my phone. And Diane, yes, we will put the link after we're done today. We'll put it in the description so that anybody watching this episode ever can find that link and get that printable sheet. It's just one piece of paper.
Yep.
Kept it nice and easy for you. Yeah. Stitching life together. So appreciate your realness. And I'm totally binging your podcast. It's amazing. Oh, thanks for that, Amanda. It is something that at the moment is in hiatus again. I did a season this spring, and I have a lot of irons in the fire. So.
You forgot one very important thing.
What was the important thing? Oh, the coffee cup. I had
this is very important
had the coffee
to the
cup
show.
in my hand at the beginning.
If Susan does not have her coffee, the show does not flow as well.
It's true. It's true. Top on the show flow is get coffee. Just kidding. No, it is important. And it was really fun the years that we had the little Buy Me a Coffee site, because that was just this nice little connection with my love of coffee. However, we're using that less and less. There are still contributors on it, and we still appreciate it like crazy and reinvest those dollars here on YouTube. But at this time, if you want to support the show, the best way to do it is use the super thanks that's built right into YouTube.
Yeah.
It's usually right under the description of the channel or the episode. And in that way, you can support us too. And we will always keep investing that back into making a better and better show for you. Maybe the next step, Dave, you can speak to this if you want to. Maybe the next step will be hiring a Ruth. Like, who knows? Who knows?
Maybe the next step will be hire somebody who remembers to mute the doorbell when we're live.
Did you all get to hear that? It's lovely.
It's another Amazon parcel, I believe.
And the doorbell, a side note,
Yes.
entirely apart from YouTube. But we live in a 2-story building, and the original doorbell rang only upstairs. And so I'd be down here sewing with my machine noise and or an audible book on my ears, right? And I would miss clients altogether. And so Dave installed me a doorbell that rings like crazy throughout the house at a big old decibel level so that I can't miss it anymore. And it rings on my phone too. So it's quite clever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys.
Any other questions, Ruth? Or are we good?
Yeah.
We're good?
More comments? Okay. Super. Okay, as always, we've been live and unscripted. And if this happens to be your first time today, let me assure you that usually live and unscripted means that I'm working on a quilting project. But it always means we're airing it live and in real time. So you get an honest look, it's unedited. And this is just my way of sharing what I do, how I do it. I'm not trying to make it look brushed up and perfect. I'm just showing you what quilting looks like in my studio. So the next episode, I promise we will be back to quilting. So sign up for the newsletter. If you haven't already, you'll get advance notification of what the next project will be and what some of the topics might be in it. And like I said, I do try and tell stories in there that convey lessons. I know I got one back about yesterday's story already. I was talking about the value of being willing to be a beginner when you're learning something new and just dive in and try and not expect great results at the outset, knowing that improved results will come, right? And I got a lovely reply back already today. And that was just so timely for someone who was kind of beating themselves up. They're working on a particular design, first time through it, and they were getting frustrated because it wasn't gorgeous, right? But this is just a lesson we can all take to heart. So that, again, is kind of my style of sharing in my newsletters, is I like to share things that I've learned from either my own stories or things I see happening around me that just trigger these examples. These are helpful to all of us to see how life really turns and how we really learn and just kind of relate them to the quilting journey that we're on together. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been really fun to do this episode with Mr. Producer, my husband Dave, and also with our friend Ruth, who's been helping us out today, being an extra set of hands. So thanks you all for joining us, and we'll catch up with you next time.